Roger from Cruiser Customizing.
Gregory Beck with WWGe Distributing.
This week on the Wednesday with Greg, we're going to go back to the olden days to where Greg came from, where there was no GPS, there was no telephone. They rolled around on motorcycles with stone wheels.
Well, we did have telephones, they just didn't move.
So really the topic of conversation today is really, what do you do nowadays different to plan a trip than you did back 15, 20 years ago?
Well, actually that was more than 15, 20 years ago. In the early 70s I had a Triumph, and I would leave work and get on my bike and head one direction and ride until it got dark, or I got lost and I'd find a motel, and next day ride back, and no plan. But yeah, nowadays you have a computer, so you check the weather, you maybe check the route, you have a phone that you can Bluetooth and call your buddy on the way to his house to pick him up or whatever, and then you have the GPS to tell you when to turn and when not to turn, and yeah, it's changed a lot.
Back when I started riding on the street, I was riding a CX500 that had a fuel range of right around 100, 115 miles. So my biggest problem was there wasn't a map that said, here's a gas station, here's a gas station, here's a gas station.
Yeah, well, honestly, I just didn't really ever ride that far. You know, it seemed like I was going a long ways, but in reality I was only going maybe 70, 80 miles. And then the next day turn around and head back and find the gas station. I really didn't seem to care about that. Nowadays, my bike will do between 250 and 300 miles on the tank, and I'm pretty anal about knowing when to get gas.
What are some of the other common things that people should really take a look at before they jump on the bike and hit the road?
Well, besides the obvious, making sure the bike is roadworthy, the tires are in good shape, your clothing. I don't like being caught out, and my gear is waterproof, it's vented, it's heated.
Piggyback on what Greg said, my clothing choices for riding my motorcycle have definitely changed over the last 15 years. I mean, it used to be a pair of blue jeans and a long sleeve shirt were good enough to go, but now it's protective gear for my pants and a jacket that's going to protect me in case of impact, gloves that are waterproof or windproof, or if it's a hot day, everything's ventilated so you don't overheat and get dehydrated.
Yeah, so when I first met my wife, it was about 20 years ago, we started riding together. She was wearing a kind of a nappy old leather jacket, blue jeans, cowboy boots, funky old Nolan helmet, I think it was. After riding with me a couple times, we kind of upgraded her riding apparel, and now today she has the current state-of-the-art good stuff, and she really does appreciate it.
That's one thing. If you're riding a passenger, they're usually way less experienced than you are, and they really don't know what to expect. So you being the one in control, making sure they're covered, is really important.
My granddaughter just started riding with me on a scooter, and first thing I did is I bought her a really good helmet and a good jacket, and we just ride around the neighborhood really.
Another great addition to the modern day advances that we have now that I use quite a bit is the traffic finder. So if you're on the GPS, you can take a look at what roads are closed, if there's traffic hazards, accidents, anything of that nature that would prohibit you from going where you really want to go, or make you have to make a detour that then you may not have the facility, either the daylight or the gasoline or whatever have you, in order to get back to where you need to start from again.
Kyle and I took a trip a couple years ago, and he had this orange thing that he put on his backpack, and I said, what the hell's that for? And he says, well, it tells everybody that I want to know where I am. In a necessity, a real emergency, you can actually call for medical assistance.
So it's called the Spot Finder, and what this piece does, it's actually a satellite receptive device that allows you to have a couple buttons. The first button allows you to basically text out or email out, letting people know that you're okay. The next button tracks your GPS, and the other one is the SOS button. You hit that button, and emergency forces, be it the police department, fire department, search and rescue, whoever's available will rush to that situation.
Yeah, almost anywhere in the world. So now I have one of those. In our last trip to Mexico, I always had that thing on.
So I guess the moral of the story for this tip is to take advantage of all of the advances that we have in technology and resources. Know where you're going. Know what the road conditions like, what the weather's like, how you need to prepare your motorcycle for either a short trip or a long adventure.
Yeah, it sure makes the riding a lot more fun when you're prepared.